America in Crisis.
Thanks for sticking with us tonight. Within the last couple of months, the call for police reform has been revived. Question for you, Sim Gill. How do we bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community?
Well, I think first of all, we need to honestly acknowledge the fact that there is a large segment of our community that feels unheard, unseen, unresponded to. And the protests that we have in Salt Lake are no different than the protests around the country. While this is also an indictment of the criminal justice system and law enforcement and brutality, it is more importantly an indictment of our entire political system, where these voices have been shut out of the decision making, out of accountability, out of having a sense that they have a say in the matter. So that's one part that we have to acknowledge, that there is a real reason why people are feeling this way. The other part is we need to also recognize that law enforcement has a difficult job to do. But I genuinely believe law enforcement will rise to the standards that we set for them. And I think it's incumbent upon us that as a society, if these don't meet our ideals, then we need to create the standards and the change in the laws that do reflect what we want our society to be. And that's something that we need to do legislatively. But it starts by recognizing that these voices that are protesting out there have a reason to protest, and at the same time, we also have a difficult job to do with law enforcement, and they're not exclusive of each other. There is something that we can do about it.
Digging more into that, what changes do need to be made if citizens want police officers held accountable for acts of violence?
Well, I think that first of all, we need to recognize that different groups play different roles in it. So for example, people think that I have the power to hire and fire police officers. I don't. That really is something that mayors who appoint chiefs of police, they get to dictate more directly what policies, what procedures, what training, what values that they want reflected in that law enforcement. They need to also talk about the relationship they have with their police unions. What does that mean in terms of talking about benefits versus accountability? And then we have to start talking with the legislators who are waking up in this moment and saying, geez, we want to do something, and that here are the things, if you want to change, here are specific things that you can do if that is the objective that we want to achieve. So I think that we need to recognize it's a much larger problem. And then of course, we need as prosecutors to be as open and transparent as we can, so we have the tools to reflect those concerns about accountability as well. So everybody has a role to play in it, including the most important role of our citizens who are out there, who need to get involved politically in this process and be part of that conversation. And we need to make sure that institutionally we don't shut those voices out, because they have something very important to share with us.
Now, these protests have been going strong for almost 2 months now, and you've stated multiple times that you do support peaceful protests, but you do say that the work does not stop there. So if people are unhappy with Utah's justice system, what can they do in addition to protests?
I think protests demonstrate what is not being met in our community. And when we talk about, this didn't happen overnight. This happens every 20 or 30 years. And we have listening tours, we have commissions that are created, we do little platitudes, and we move on to the next issue. This moment feels differently because I think for the first time, I think policy makers are genuinely listening, and that means that our citizens cannot just simply raise those issues, but then they have to take the next step. Because when we go into 45 days into the legislative session, that's where the laws that are made will give us the kind of long-term, systemic, sustainable changes that we want. Not just platitudes, not just episodic wins, not just do what makes us feel good right now, but how do we make systemic changes? Issues of implicit bias, issues of systemic racism that we have to acknowledge that's there, issues of criminal justice reform. So these are all important issues, and our citizens have a direct role to play in that.
All right, thank you so much, Sim Gill, for joining us tonight. Much more of this conversation will be found on our website, abc4.com. Thank you again. We'll see you back here at 10.